Today, for the last episode of Unscripted, we will be tackling a very sensitive yet unfortunately reoccurring matter. It may seem like the idea of abusing your own child is ridiculous, but you may be surprised to know how common it has become. According to our research, on a daily basis in Pakistan, 10 children are abused. Many people fail to realize that abuse does not have to be physical, it can be emotional and psychological as well. Today, we are here to talk about how abuse like this affects a child's emotional and mental health because it is time someone started addressing the different kinds of child abuse.
I'm Aksa Amjad and I'm with Aisha Satani. So as Aisha mentioned, child abuse and neglect are actually a very recurrent topic in Pakistan. And because it does not just affect a child's mental growth, it also shapes the person he grows into be. So in order to discuss the professional opinion, we have Mrs. Humaira Afan with us. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. How are you?
Walaikum
And
salam.
how's
I'm good. Thank you so much.
how's
Quarantine has,
quarantine?
now it's actually, I think, getting on our nerves. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit too much now.
Ma'am,
ठीक
will
है.
you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I would love to do that. And I'm a psychotherapist by profession. And I've been into the work since about 7 years now. I do a lot of one-on-one sessions with clients and online sessions, of course, since everything is already gone online now. I also do a lot of mental health awareness talks for different organizations, for institutes such as yours and schools also. Plus, I'm also invited usually as a guest speaker on different TV news channels to give my expert opinion about the mental health conditions that are prevailing in the city or in the country as of the current or earlier as well. So those TV shows are morning shows and especially news shows. So it's quite an interesting talk over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something
Okay.
about me.
Yeah, thank you. So that's why we have called you here today also because like our main topic is child abuse. So we have all heard stories of child abuse every day, thousands of different stories from the child molestation porn videos from Kasur to the heinous acts against
Yeah.
Zainab, which were all over the news.
Welcome.
So, but a lot of children go through abuse like that, but they survive. So what our question is how does an incident of abuse like that shape the person a child becomes or how it affects their emotional growth?
Okay, first of all, Aisha, we need to understand what exactly is abuse.
Yeah.
What falls under that category. So anything that you're putting to wrong use or any violation that you're doing with anybody or any dishonor that you're providing, you're proving towards somebody or behavior towards somebody in that way accounts as abuse. So I could be violating your boundaries again and again. That would come under abuse. I could be using you or your facilities or let's say certain thing again and again. That comes under abuse. So just summing it up again, it's anything that you put, whether it's your physical body, whether it's your money or anything to wrong use or violating somebody's boundaries as well. So you've got to understand this as well before we go further also, that abuse is kids keep open to, we will talk about kids right now, but there are different forms of abuse as well. Just for people to understand, you can abuse food, there is animal abuse, there is drug abuse, then there is money abuse, there is alcohol abuse, and there is relationship abuse as well, where the codependency starts and you just can't stay without the other person. So all of these things, when you overdo this, when you misuse this, when you violate it, it all comes under abuse, even food for that fact. So since I said there's relationship as well, relationship के अंदर फिर आ जाता है, there's physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, and there's sexual abuse. So what we're talking about kids right now is what happens to them is when they're physically abused, when they're emotionally abused, or when they're sexually abused. For them, all three have the same impact. It's not like if they're emotionally abused, there will be less impact, or if they are physically abused, there'll be more, the impact will be harder. So in these three categories, when we look at children, that's where all the abuse forms. So I hope it's clear from that aspect about what abuse is. Okay, so can you go back to your question, please?
So originally my question was is that like when we hear the stories on the news, it's like the child passes away or whatever, but a lot of children do survive acts of abuse. So how would that shape their emotional growth? Like how would it stop their growth, or what's the implications of that?
Okay, so yes, it does emotionally affect them a lot. It physically affects them as well, because they will stop eating, they will stop sleeping properly, and if they're not eating and sleeping well, obviously that emotions will come in as well. I will just give you an example of my one of my clients. He was abused at the age of 15, although he was a teenager, by this construction worker living next to his house. The trauma didn't kick in then. The trauma started coming in, the emotional dysfunctionality started coming in when he entered his 20s. He was very disconnected with his own body. He could at times hear different sounds. He could see different things. He had a lot of anger and rage issues. So usually when kids, when they can't express themselves emotionally or verbally, and they can't say this is what I'm going through, they will act out in different ways, in behavior forms, in emotional forms. So understanding that all these kids who even survive abuse, for them counseling is definitely most important. But even understanding that for their family support to understand any unnatural behavior or any behavior which is not regularly exhibited by him, which people may call abnormal, but I don't want to use that term. That's why I'm saying which is not normal. So any behavior or emotions which he's expressing which are not normal according to his daily or regular day in and day out, that's a sign of concern. That's when parents and family members need to come in, because the effects then are very long term. Now what happens is the person who is going through abuse, in such cases, the children, they blame themselves. They blame themselves that I shouldn't have gone out, I should have hurt my mother, I shouldn't have done this, and maybe I should have worn proper clothes. And sometimes the parents even go like, see, I told you not to go out alone. See, I told you to remain indoor. So whatever fears they have, they're multiplied and they're validated by those parents as well. Who are putting that blame on him. So they go through a lot of blame. Sorry?
I was just saying that society plays a huge part, right? I mean, the victim is told to take the blame rather than the other.
Absolutely. And yes, so they're already very blamed, they're already very shamed, they're already in that place where they're very vulnerable. So even if you approach them for anything and you want them to get back to life normally, it's not easy for them. So the abuser has his own separate role to play as well, because they're so powerful on the person, on the victim, that the victim starts feeling scared as well. So the abuser will typically very victimize the child. He will blame the child. You see, you came to me, and that is why he will blame the child. You can't tell anybody, otherwise I'll harm your parents. So the child, these type of emotional things is what the child goes through. And once when they grow up into their teens or 20s and 30s, then their groundwork of emotions, this is how then it gets disrupted. So if you see an adult who blames himself or blames everybody around a lot, who feels guilty for everything that he's done or anything that he's done, or who feels anger, or who loves to be part of some authority, somebody's playing authority, these are the signs people need to understand that there has been a history behind this human or this adult as a child. So these are some of the cues that I thought I could share with you for starters.
Thank you.
So we कुछ जो पेरेंट्स होते हैं वो ज़्यादातर ये समझते हैं कि उनके जो मेल चिल्ड्रंस हैं वो ज़्यादा सेफर हैं वुमेन जो गर्ल्स हैं उनसे, तो इसकी वजह से वो गर्ल्स पे ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं, जिसकी वजह से जो मेल चिल्ड्रंस होते हैं वो ज़्यादा वर्नरेबल हो जाते हैं. ये एक बच्चे पे ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं और तो दूसरे को निगलेक्ट हो जाता है, दूसरा इग्नोर हो जाता है. आपको क्या लगता है कि how do this neglect affects their mental health in general?
Honestly speaking, ratio जो है ना वो out of every 5 children, 1 is the male, 4 is a female. So we can't say it's drastically different, or we can't say कि बहुत कम margin है, बहुत ज़्यादा margin है. It's there. To understand that boys and girls equally go through the abuse, and for them to shelter the boys more, thinking nothing is going to happen to them, and the girls are more susceptible or more vulnerable, that's a totally wrong concept. ये जो सोच है कि यू नो लड़कियां ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट होती है, ज्यादा अब्यूज होती हैं, लड़के कम होते हैं, दिस माइंडसेट नीड्स टू चेंज. द प्रीडेटर, द वन हु इज अब्यूजिंग, नीड्स अ विक्टिम, नीड्स अ टारगेट. और उसकी न्यूरॉन्स ऐसे होते हैं कि उसके सामने अगर उसको लड़का प्लीज कर रहा है, ही विल कीप यू नो अब्यूजिंग बॉयज. अगर उसको लड़की प्लीज कर रही है, वो हो रहे अट्रैक्ट हो रहा है, तो ही विल कीप अब्यूजिंग गर्ल्स. So just to understand कि it doesn't depend कि लड़का या लड़की, it depends on the abuser. So that abuser could be the one who's you know going ahead doing all sorts of things to boys. Just to understand that for boys they need to be equally careful the way they are with girls. इधर gender discrimination नहीं करनी है. Where children are concerned, both need to be treated like children in general. Not कि ये लड़की है तो ये कम बाहर जाए, he's a boy so he can go out more. So treating both the genders equally like children is the main deal to it. And you've got to understand child abuse is typically done with kids under the age of 17 to 18. जिनको pedophiles attract करते भी हैं, जिनको वो attempt करते भी हैं. Anybody above that then gets into the category of rape. So the abuse comes on to you know pre-teens, teens वाले years के अंदर. So yeah, going again to the parents, they need to be very vigilant. They need to keep a very open communication with their children as well, whether it's a boy or a girl, and giving them all the tools about the good touch, the bad touch, who is supposed to come in, who's not supposed to come in too close to them, when are they supposed to respond. So the news out there, the treatment out there, or the precautionary measures out there for both boys and girls need to be the same. It just can't be differentiated. It's just not fair. It's not right.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so to move on, so divorce is also considered a huge taboo in our society, right? Because like a divorce, it's just bura mana jata hai. So because of that, a lot of couples decide to, you know, stay together in an empty shell marriage rather than parting ways. So living in a dysfunctional family like that, how would you comment? How would that affect a child, a growing child in that household? And if you want, you can tell us a specific case if you know. I like it.
Okay, so Aisha, in a divorce case as well, the family becomes very dysfunctional. Now, who do we call a dysfunctional family where their parents are fighting? They're not agreeing with each other. There is emotional abuse. There is physical abuse. There is beating going on between the couple, between the husband and the wife. The kids are being beaten up as well. They're being called names. So that's verbal abuse. That's also there. And then when parents can't agree with each other. So all of these things, they make up a dysfunctional family, and there are a lot more. So when kids are viewing their parents like this, and the dysfunctionality, fighting, disagreeing with each other, it affects their mental health a lot. It affects them emotionally a lot. So whatever the child is watching between the parents, it's really not healthy for them. Especially, it's almost as if the child is walking on eggshells. With even in an empty marriage, even if the couple is living together, it's almost as if, you know, you never know when they'll erupt, when they'll blow up. So children, especially in this case, when they go through the emotional abuse, they don't know when kab kaun si parents gaali de denge, when the parents will give them a slap or hit them. They don't know when the parents will blow up all of a sudden at each other or onto the child. So they become very withdrawn. They become very quiet. And in such a case, for the parents to know that what they are doing to each other is very important, it directly the effect goes down to the children. So either you amicably part ways, keeping the children's health in mind. If you cannot amicably part ways, then some sort of, you know, a pact needs to be made, a friendly pact that, you know, that we will not fight in front of the kids. So there are ways of working around with the relationships as well. But yes, it's not just that direct sexual abuse that comes from outside. In a dysfunctional family, in divorced parents, in parents going through rocky marriage, the impact directly comes onto the children a lot.
Okay, so we live in a competitive society, ठीक है, जहाँ पे like ज़्यादातर चिल्ड्रन को बोला जाता है कि आप अच्छे मार्क्स लाएं या फिर आप साइंस की फील्ड चूज करें क्योंकि ये ज़्यादा बिकॉज यू नीड टू फिट इन द सोसाइटी, ठीक है. उनको फिर भी अगर पेंटर्स या इंटीरियर डिजाइनर्स बनना होगा, लेकिन फिर भी दे आर टोल्ड टू बिकम डॉक्टर्स और इंजीनियर्स बिकॉज दैट्स मेक देम अर्न मोर. So how do you think these mindsets or these mindsets, these perceptions affects the child's mental health
So
and
अक्सर
emotional
almost
growth.
as if like आपने बच्चे को एक मोल्ड में डाल दिया है, ठीक है, आपने उसको एक मोल्ड में फिट कर दिया और आपने बोला कि बस आपने यही बनना है. So उस मोल्ड में फिट होने के लिए the child is going to go through a lot of pressure, a lot of mental strain and a lot of stress as well, because he knows कि उसके सामने एक कैटेगरी रख दी गई है, एक डेडलाइन रख दी गई है, एक एम रख दी गई है, and he needs to reach it, he needs to achieve it. So, and knowing that maybe not all children have the capability, you know, the parents may say you have to become XYZ, but they know very well that they just can't do it. So living in that pressure is not healthy for the child. And the child knowing that yes, I will fail my parents if I don't become a doctor, I will disappoint my parents if I don't become an engineer, I will not be good enough if I haven't fulfilled my parents' dream. That's a lot of pressure on the child. And whereas the child is already going through so many developmental stages, emotionally, physically, socially, where he's learning to mingle with new people, with different sexes, with different age groups, trying to find their own identity. और वो अपनी उसी आइडेंटिटी को सर्च करते करते आप उनके ऊपर एक और आइडेंटिटी लाद दो कि दिस इज व्हाट यू आर फॉलोइंग, डजंट मैटर, and you disregard that. It doesn't matter if you want to become a musician, let's say, or a chef. We want you to become this. So see what's happening with the child. There's a conflict. His heart and mind and skill set says chef, musician, but the parents are saying you have to become this. So the conflict starts from there. So he has to unlearn, uncondition himself from a lot of things that he already possesses, the skills, and start conditioning himself towards those hardcore skill jobs. So I would say that's a lot of pressure, and some kids just can't take it. So parents need to see where the child falls. If the child is capable of taking the pressure and they are in touch with him and they know all is fine, fair enough. If the child can do both. But if they feel that the child is unable to perform, unable to fit the mold of becoming an engineer, they need to back off. They need to see what the child's capability is and fit the, let's say, the future vision or the job to their capability rather than changing their capabilities for the future job.
In mind all the questions we have asked, have you ever gone through any of the such cases like जहाँ पे ये सब, for example, competitive society, जहाँ पे एक कोई भी child या teenager depression में चला गया क्योंकि उसे ये बोला गया है कि आपको ये बनना है, या फिर of abuse, of neglect. So will you like to share it with us?
Okay, yeah, you asked me earlier as well about an example, and I'm sorry, that's it. So I'll give you examples of all the stuff that we've spoken about. So abuse का मैंने आपको पहले लड़के का बताया था, that 15-year-old teenager who went through abuse. So that's one example of boys also being abused, ठीक है? And not just girls. Whereas I've had clients whose unfortunately, still my heart sings. It's been a couple of years since I've last seen her, and now, alhamdulillah, she's doing very well. Her grandfather used to abuse her. There was one who ran away from another country because her stepfather used to abuse her. There was one whose actual father used to abuse her. So you see, there are horrifying cases out there, and working with such people, and this is all childhood. This is all childhood trauma which they bring in, like I told you, वो actual फिर teens या post teens या फिर adulthood में निकलता है. So working with such people gets really, really difficult. But yes, there are cases out there. And then you said for people who wanted to become something, yeah, there was a client who was very much into starting her own food chain, but the father wanted her to go into advertising and media. So she tried, and then the department she was sent to, अब उसके अंदर भी आप देखो media तो बोल दिया, but advertising भी बोल दिया. But the department that she wanted to be in wasn't the department that she wanted. Although on the broader scale she was in the organization, but it was still not what she wanted or she was good at. That led to so much of low self-esteem and low self-worth that it took quite a while to work with her. We used to have literally 2 sessions a week for a good couple of months. So much so that now when she sends me a message that I started my own food chain and I'm in a very good place now, and alhamdulillah, and thank you so much for your help. So see, when parents force the children into something, आपके अंदर doubt बहुत आ जाता है कि am I really good enough to do this thing? Can I really do this? So a lot of your emotions get challenged. Your own trust finishes off from yourself okay, I was supposed to do this, but I couldn't. So since I can't become a doctor or an engineer or a banker as my parents wanted, I can't even do this. I may not be good enough. So overall, your whole self-esteem, your whole self-worth, and your whole value system, it's all very much challenged with these children when they grow up.
Thank you so much for joining us today and clearing the kinds of abuse and making us all aware of it's most our mindset, change the mindset at a young age and stop so we can all work towards stopping abuse.
So there's one thing more I like to say, Aisha, that something which not just parents or children, but even as you teenagers and students older than you, younger than you, need to be very mindful of the words that they use. The words that people use could come under the category of emotional or verbal abuse, and body shaming as well, and bullying also. So I meet up a lot of kids who are bullied, and at the age of 18, 19, they're still dealing with those traumatic words and with that trauma of bullying. And something which happens in their 20s immediately triggers it, and they go back then. So whenever you're speaking to somebody, just a last, I think, goodbye message for you guys, that whenever you're speaking to somebody, just please make sure, leave your judgments aside, leave the name calling aside. Even if you feel you're joking, even if it's said in humor, you have absolutely no idea what impression and what weightage it has for the other person, how they hold it with themselves, and they live with it for years, and then that manifests into something different. So please be careful of what you say to the other person, how you may judge the other person, what labels you may call the other person, because that leaves a very, very long lasting effect on them.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that means a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was actually a very informative episode.
Yeah, we learned
a
lot.
So much,
our viewers will also learn.
We learned a lot as well as hosts.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I'm always open for counseling sessions, one-on-one or group discussions.
Great, yeah.
If people want to come in, so they can always email me or Google me up and just send me a call or a message anytime.
We'll keep Ms. Mara's information in the description, so if anybody wants to reach out, that would be great.
Sure.
Thank
you so much, Aisha and Aksa.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much.
All these topics mentioned today are very important, and as briefed, they affect a child not only when it happens, but for years ahead. So it is up to us to change the mindset, to change the way we think, and as she advised, to change the way we talk so that we can prevent anything like this happening again.
So in the end, I would like you to introduce to Adopt an Orphanage just launched YouTube channel. We have uploaded all our amusing videos, and all the episodes of Unscripted are uploaded there. So just subscribe to the YouTube channel and enjoy all those new videos.
Okay, thank you for joining us today. This was Unscripted, and we're signing off.